What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the After Show. That's right. We've got a couple episodes of the After Shows in a row. Got my buddy here, Mr. AKA at Messiah Complex. How you doing, Jeff?
Dude, what do you mean, how am I doing? Did you watch this show that we're going to talk about?
I did.
Doing great. We got Mando this week, and we got another banger out of the Star Trek Picard folk. Yeah. I am super pumped.
Man, does the big reveal make me have more questions than answers at this point.
So the caveat is, as it always is, this is for the third episode of the third season of Picard. We're going to talk about the whole thing in its entirety. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that and then come back and watch this. Okay. Because you are going to get mad spoilers. Is this the first full-fledged, like real DS9, like reference? DS9 reference in the new Trek era type of thing?
Yeah, for sure.
So give me some, like you're saying, it led to more questions. So give me some. So again, so we got changelings is what we're seeing, right?
So we're seeing shapeshifters, we're seeing changelings. They seem to be the big bads in all of this. They seem to be trying to coordinate another attack on Earth. Now, Worf does throw in a line in there that he spoke to an old friend,
a man of honor,
Odo.
Absolutely. And for those that don't know, by the way, Odo actor Rene Auberjonois passed away in 2019. So unfortunately, we won't actually get to see him. Odo, but that reference was very cool.
Yeah. Sure. So he mentioned that he spoke to Odo, that a faction of the Great Link has separated. They did not want peace, which brings me to an important question. If there are changelings in the Alpha Quadrant, they would have had to come through the wormhole.
I would assume so, yeah.
If they came through the wormhole, why would Sisko and the Prophets not stop changelings from coming through the wormhole? I mean, that's part of the agreement, right? They stay in their place, we stay here. Why would they have let changelings back into the Alpha Quadrant? And actually, I'm going to even go one step further. Does that mean that we're going to go to DS9 and we're going to go through the wormhole and that we're going to potentially actually see what Sisko's become?
Okay.
So let me just refresh your memory quickly.
Yeah.
Sisko, he's a halfling. He's the son of a human man and a wormhole alien female. That's why he's the emissary. That's why he speaks for the Prophets and he's able to communicate with the Prophets because he's one of them, right? Sure. So at the end, he basically collapses the wormhole and destroys the whole fleet of Jem'Hadar trying to come through because now he can control the wormhole. He's one with them. It ends with Kira, with Nerys, being the commander of Deep Space Nine because Sisko's gone.
Right.
He's with the Prophets now. Now, don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, at the end of Deep Space Nine, the wormhole appears to be gone.
Right.
So when
that
ships
would
go
beg
to go
the question,
through the
then,
right? Then how the hell are changelings here?
So they would have already had to have been here.
Yeah,
right? And clearly more than one because we've already met two on this. We've already met two.
Okay, so can we go down?
No, hang on. No, but hang on though. But Worf says he spoke with someone from the Great Lake. Like he spoke with Odo.
He spoke with Odo.
Odo's
so
the one that told him. So how is he communicating with Odo?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're definitely now. I understand why you're saying there's more questions than answers because
we don't know.
There's still some sort of traversing happens between.
Yeah, there's something going on
are they
there.
in? Not the Delta.
They're in the Gamma Quadrant. Sorry, Voyager was in the Delta Quadrant.
Right. The wormhole goes to the Gamma Quadrant. Right?
The Gamma Quadrant links the Alpha Quadrant to the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah. Okay. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to point out that you were bang on last week. You know when you said you were getting Major Wrath of Khan vibes?
Oh, dude.
With the space battle? Well, they played the music from Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, they sure did.
While they were having the space battle in the nebula. I was like, how on the fucking nose is this, right?
Yeah,
like
they're really paying off. Well, they know what works, right? They're not
They
dumb.
do.
They're get really, what Trekkies want.
They're really pulling from Wrath of Khan.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely wicked. They also addressed the whole Jack Crusher accent thing.
Right.
Which
just as ridiculous as the Patrick Stewart accent thing. So it's
all right. He went to school in London, and it never
left.
It never left. Like, wait, what? So he went to school for 2 years in England, and now for the rest of his life he's got an English accent.
To be fair, I do know a gentleman that that went to Scotland in his early 20s, and he only lived over there for a couple of years too, and he came back, and he had a Scottish accent for a long time. But we also have a pretty good idea he was just using it to get ladies. So I mean, it's not like, and for Jack Crusher, I'm sure it's probably part of the same thing. Like, hey, I sound really cool and get a lot of attention when I do this, so I'm just gonna keep this. This is why now. This is fun.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, just the episode overall. Other than the big reveal of obviously we're having changelings and perhaps
Jesse from freaking Fast and the Furious shows up. He starts punching Jack, and then Jack punches him back, and his face goes like. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, initially I thought the same thing too. When I saw his face go weird, I was like, is that like an Odo? Is that like a whatever, a founder or whatever they're called? Is that one of those? But I'm like, no, I'm sure that's not it. And then it turns out that was it. Yeah. I would like to point out, if I was right about that, I was definitely wrong about Worf rejoining the crew, as it were, because it looks like it's still going to be him and Rafaela, as he calls her, by the way.
Yeah,
as they go to because now they're going to go to Daystrom and try to figure out what the real item, the real valuable item that was stolen.
So the portal tech, it was a diversion, which again goes back to my maybe Vadic is not the big bad here, right?
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like Vadic's going to actually be the big bad. The big bad are going to be the changelings, right?
I would think so. Now, I have a theory. Do you have a theory about what the real item that was stolen from Daystrom was? Because I do.
I don't. You go ahead. What do you think it is?
Lore. I mean, Daystrom on Earth was intimately involved in creating the androids in the first place. If there was going to be a Soong android that was going to be in Starfleet's possession, you would think it would be with Daystrom, but an off-site, as they say. It's not the Daystrom that we saw in season 1. It's an off-site Daystrom. I think it's a
secret facility.
I think that's how they introduced Lore to the show. He was the thing that was stolen. And Lore, of course, has information on the Borg. He has information about Starfleet. He has all the throwaway thing.
Didn't they have a throwaway line in the first episode about positronic readings?
Well, because Picard is positronic now, right?
Oh, well, he is. You're right. Oh no, that was in this episode. Actually, he mentioned
this episode. He mentions positronic.
He's still the same man. Positronic.
Like, he's positronic.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. How about all that tension between Riker and Picard? I
didn't like that.
We've never seen that before.
Yeah, I didn't like the switch that the minute Riker takes over command, all of a sudden his attitude towards Picard completely changes.
It does.
And you were completely fine with following his lead before you were in charge of the ship. But now that you're in charge of the ship, now it's everything he says is wrong, and get yourself off my bridge. You've just killed us all. Well, wait a second. First of all, you're not dead, but
it definitely felt like Picard and Worf's confrontation in First Contact. It felt a little bit like that. You're a coward. If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand. And then later on, they apologize. I assume something along those lines. But okay, dude, I messaged the group chat, and I'm like, if they kill, because they brought Riker very much to the forefront in this episode. Like this show the show could be called Star Trek Riker, and nobody would argue. We get the emotional moments of him recurring his son's death. He gets command of the ship. He's front and center. He probably has more lines and scenes in this episode than Picard does. So I thought for sure they're setting him up to die, especially with all this shit going on in the nebula. The shields are down, one hit to the bridge. And in fact, there's even a part where things explode behind him and he kind of goes, ooh, like he leans. And I was like, if they kill Will Riker, I'm going to find out where they make this show and I'm going to burn it to the ground. Don't you listen, Paramount, CBS, don't you dare. Don't kill any of them. No, that's not. And I saw people saying that, they go to Blaze of Glory. No, you don't kill. It'd be like killing Kirk and the crew in Star Trek 6. They don't do that. They're not stupid. You don't kill those characters. They killed Kirk in Genesis or whatever or Generations.
In Generations.
And that's because he wanted a death scene. And then he wrote a book that brought him back to life. Don't kill them. Don't kill any of them. You even tried to kill Picard and then you made him a body. Just leave them alone. Look at you. I can tell you're like, no, they got to die. No, JS.
No. I know. I agree with you.
They better not. They better
I
not.
don't want.
We
I don't
riot.
want any
Guys,
of them to
everybody
die.
watching this, the entirety of YouTube, the Geeks and Co Nation, if they kill any of them, especially Riker, but if they kill any of them, we riot. Wait, who could we lose? Who could we lose that would be like, okay, fine. We lost that one. That's fine. Like if we have to take a
Well,
loss, who is it?
I don't know that there's anybody. I mean,
We've already lost Data, right?
we've already lost Data.
Who's arguably the most popular character from this cast. If you ask any of them, that's what they'll tell you, that it was easily Data.
Mm-hmm.
So who could we
I
lose
still
after
think
this?
a big chunk of the original crew is going to die. I
Listen,
think Crusher's dying.
You're
I think
making this
Riker's
happen.
dying.
You're
I
manifesting
think
this.
Picard may actually die at the end of this.
Well, to be fair, Picard, I mean, not that they already did once. It would seem cheap if they did it again, but he did say he would actually be up for more Picarding after this season. I know it says the final season. Don't misunderstand me. It would be weird if they killed him again and then found a way to bring him back again. Like it would seem like pretty tired ground.
We'll have to see how they do this, but I don't know. I feel like they're really rebuilding those relationships to make us feel for those characters. If they want us to feel for those characters so bad, I feel like it's because there's an end game, right? And the end game is going to be, I think, one or multiple of them dying. I think
fair,
but
so
we'll see.
We leave off with the show essentially disabled, falling deeper and deeper into the nebula, and now falling towards this gravity well thing that comes up this episode that's going to fall them apart. But I think it's Picard that says earlier in the episode that, especially with all the weapons that the Shrike has, that they're essentially just toying with them. That
if she wanted to destroy us, she already
could have
would
just killed him. And in fact, it wasn't even their. It was their own photon torpedoes that hit them out of the portal weapon. So, what if you're spitballing? What's Vadic's true objective if it's not to destroy that ship? Because clearly that's not the case. Clearly they're not going to fall into this gravity well. Clearly the ship's not going to get torn apart. So what is Vadic? Like, what is she up to? What is she? What is it about Jack that she needs?
Well, like Beverly said, I don't think it's about Jack at all.
Right. It's about Jean-Luc.
I think it's about Picard. It's about something that's happened, I think, back in the Enterprise D days.
Right.
And in the Enterprise D days, something happened that launched Vadic off to,
right. Because Beverly says that too. She's like, that's clearly not just a bounty hunter. That's
not a
warship.
bounty hunter ship. Yeah.
She's working for somebody that's big. I don't know who that would be, but with the DS9 tie-ins, could it be some angry Cardassians? Could it be?
Well, no,
already had Romulans, right?
We clearly know that now there's a changeling/founder angle there.
Right.
So they're the ones that were responsible for the theft.
Right.
He said the one that Worf and Raffi were holding, he mentioned something to the fact of you solids, your worlds are all about to be destroyed.
Right.
So they're not going after just the Federation. They're not going just after Picard. They're going after all solids, which
everything,
I guess, was kind of the thing with the original Dominion Wars, right?
Right.
So
I just don't get how it works. Like if they don't have the Great Link, if this is just a splinter cell and they don't have the Gemini arm, they don't have all of the forces, they don't even have like they just have who knows how many. Like I'm assuming a relatively small number of just changelings. Espionage and intrigue through the wazoo, they can literally look like and sound like anybody. But as far as like mass, like destruction on that kind of a scale, you would think that they would need more resources. In which, like, how are they?
You know what that resource is called?
Vadic? Yeah, I don't know. You tell me.
Lore.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think lore is the real prize that was stolen.
Lore has a connection to Picard. Yeah. Lore has a connection to the Daystrom Institute.
Yeah,
lore has a connection to literally everything in the story right now.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I think that's the key. Is lore is going to be key in trying to destroy at least the Federation, right? Whether they're going after the Federation strictly right now, or whether the statement he made means that they're going to be going after all of the solid world, all of the Alpha Quadrant worlds at the same time.
Right. Well, again, you would need more than just what they have to be able to pull that off. One badass ship, an android, and a handful of changelings is not going to blow up every planet in the Alpha Quadrant. So I mean, clearly there's something else that's happening. We're getting Moriarty. What? Like I still don't
know. Yeah, I don't know how I mean, the path to lore is getting clearer.
Yes.
Moriarty is still
no idea.
Yeah.
Unless we're wrong about lore and Moriarty is the real prize that was taken from.
Well, do you want to know my theory behind this?
Yeah, a little bit, because
I think that
Moriarty.
Lore is actually going to be the bad guy,
Right.
and somehow Moriarty is going to be brought in to fight Lore, because Moriarty's Sherlock was Data.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think Moriarty is going to be a tool to use against Lore. Is it going to be a weapon against Lore? I think.
Now, in any of the promo stuff, do we see Lore in a Starfleet uniform, or
we do?
So maybe
the only shot we see of him, he's wearing that new uniform.
So maybe it's the inverse of that. Maybe Moriarty is the real bad, and Lore is brought out of retirement like Data was to be able to fence with Moriarty. So maybe Moriarty is what was stolen from Daystrom. I don't know, man. Yeah,
because Moriarty wasn't Moriarty contained in that holocube thing.
That's right. So that would actually make sense to have, because now
maybe that's what was stolen. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. See, I love how we talk about this because maybe that's how Geordi is introduced. Maybe Geordi is the one that has. Geordi runs the museum. Geordi has access to all these archival items. Maybe Geordi's the one that has Lore because of how familiar Geordi was with Data and all of Data's systems.
Yeah,
maybe Geordi is the one that brings Lore in.
We clearly see in the end credits a diagram of, well, what I assumed originally was going to be Data's positronic brain.
Right. It's Lore's.
It's clearly Lore's positronic brain that you see in the end credits, right? So
okay, I'm changing my mind. I think Moriarty is what's stolen from Daystrom.
I think maybe you're right.
Geordi brings Lore in to help them against Moriarty, and that Moriarty is somehow behind a lot of what we're seeing here. Moriarty's the one behind Vadic. Maybe Moriarty's the one that's influencing or helping the Changelings. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know,
man.
Knows? It's going to be cool.
I don't know, but it's nice that they're okay. This is gonna sound super dumb.
No, give it, dude. Everything I've said this episode.
They're really, really serving it up to us on a silver platter, right? They're giving us all the Easter eggs, all the flashbacks, all the callbacks, all the feels. Like they are just not stopping, dude. Like it's one after another.
Beverly mentions losing her other, so like she says Wesley by name. Like I don't want to lose.
She names Wesley by name.
Yeah, I've already lost one son. I don't want to lose another.
Yeah,
or I didn't.
I love the whole comment of, I knew I had to protect my son. I just didn't know if I was going to be able to protect yours.
That's one of the coolest parts of what they did. Again, I don't know who's writing the show, man. And I'll tell you what, especially this cast never gets enough credit for their acting ability. And I understand in some other iterations of Trek, maybe the acting has not been fantastic. Maybe the dialogue has been cringy, whatever. But the TNG cast never gets enough credit for how good they are. The entirety of the scene between Beverly and Jean-Luc in that med bay, when she's essentially telling him, like, how could I possibly tell you that he's your son? He'll have a target on his back. That was one of the few times where I've ever seen that play out, where he doesn't find out he's the father till 20 years later, where I was like, she's making some really good points, man. Like, your life has been in peril your entire existence. If it gets out that you have a son, their life is going to be in peril too, because of who you are and what you've done across the galaxy. You're a legend. People love you, and there's a whole giant group of people that hate you. So it made sense. Everything she said made perfect sense. You can't even be mad. I wanted to be mad. How dare he says, how dare you do this? How dare you? He gets mad. And I'm like, everything she's saying. And just the delivery, the two of them back and forth.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Chef's kiss, man.
Patrick Stewart felt really old in that scene.
I mean,
no, but like throughout the show, they're making him appear younger than he really is.
Right.
In this scene, he felt old, and it breaks my heart, man. It really does.
It does. There was another actually when he comes down to the 17 seconds. By the way, that story in the beginning with him and
that was
Will,
fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. But then when he comes in and sees Jack and thinks Jack's dying and he's standing over Jack, same thing. I don't know if it's how they lit. I don't know if it's because he's lit from below or whatever, but he looks 117 years old.
Yeah, he looks ancient.
Yes, which, I mean, again, he might be watching his son die. So you want him to look haggard, and you want him to look like it's shot perfectly. It's done beautifully. Even that close up on his face as he's riding the turbo lift, and he's remembering that story that Riker told him all those years ago about Thaddeus and about those 17 seconds in that turbo lift. Just, like I said, I don't know who's writing the show. Other than the fact that Worf and Raffi are still going to be off on their own, everything else is like so good, dude. So
Isn't
good.
Thaddeus Riker's middle name?
I believe it is, yes. By the way, we were both kind of right on the Worf thing. He's not Starfleet.
So he's working with Starfleet, but he says, I'm a consultant.
A subcontractor.
A subcontractor,
is even less than a consultant. It's literally like, well, we need this done, and we don't have anybody in-house that can do it.
Yeah.
You once worked for us. Do you mind working with us on this? So,
and he does have a Klingon insignia badge on his uniform.
Did you get all of his accolades when she walks up and he's like, son of Moog, House of Martok, by the way. Cool.
Destroyer of Gowron or something like that.
Yes. Killer of the Gowron, Bane of the Duras. Like he
Bane
was just
of
like,
the Duras. I thought that was hilarious.
Like listing off all his shit. And I'm like,
yeah.
yes, man, you go. Or by the way, I don't know if you knew this or not. Riker has appeared. Jonathan Frakes has appeared in the most iterations of Star Trek ever. But as far as episode count goes,
Worf by far.
Michael Dorn's Worf has appeared in more episodes of Star Trek.
Because he was a regular on TNG for the whole series.
Yep.
And then he was a regular on DS9 for the last 4 seasons.
Yep. So now he's on Picard, right?
And now he's on Picard as a regular as well.
Yep.
Whereas, Riker had an appearance on Voyager. He had an appearance on Lower Decks. He had an appearance on Enterprise.
On DS9.
But they were only... Well, first of all, they weren't always Riker.
Right, but Jonathan Frakes, not Riker.
But Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah.
But they were always one-offs, right? They were one-shot episodes.
100%.
Whereas Worf has been a series regular now on 3 Star Trek series.
Shows. Yeah.
So
good on you, Michael Dorn. We love you.
Yeah. Oh, frig, he's my favorite. But you know what, guys? Make sure you watch next week's episode because we're going to be back with another after show. In the meantime, stay geeky. We'll see you next week.